Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. Good evening. Y'all doing all right? Y'all learning some stuff? Can we close this? Sorry, yep. Oh, it's okay. All right, great. What did we learn so far? Take action.
Don't give up.
All right. So you learned to take action, right? Did you know that you were supposed to take action before you got here? Good. So what did we learn today?
Proper pre-planning prevents piss poor performance.
Say it again.
What did you say?
Proper pre-planning
Prevents piss poor performance.
You taught that today? What did we learn today?
Call.
7 to 9 touches, follow up,
develop a strategy.
What's this
be
system?
persistent, and track.
We knew we had to develop a strategy. We knew we had to be persistent. I'm trying to find out, what did you learn new today? No? We just here for the hours? Okay, good. Okay, another question. What are some things that you're struggling with in your business?
Implementing what I learned.
Implementing what you learned. Did we learn something today?
That I'm struggling with implementing.
So I'm going to urge everybody to take notes. If you hear something, take notes. If you hear something that that could really help you, take notes. I always have a notebook with me, always, because I can't trust my memory. You should never trust your memory, but sometimes we come to these workshops and we hear some very valuable stuff, but we don't take notes, and we're trying to trust our what? So I want to know, let's make a quick list. Let's make a quick list of all the things that you're struggling with in your business. I think that's very valuable because we had this stuff in our head that we're struggling with, but if we don't see it, we can't organize it. We just go through life with these things in our head, but if we can see it on paper, we get to face the music. Now, some people don't like to write down the negative. They only want to write down the positive, affirmations, right? Well, sometimes we need to affirm the truth. These are my problems. And if we write down what our problems are, we can see them. And if we see them, we can what? We can fix them. But if they're just in our head, we won't notice them until we have the problem. And then we got to figure out what to do with the problem. Then we get past it. Then we don't think about it again until when? Until you have the problem again. So let's just make a short list. What are you dealing with? What are you struggling with? Time management. Outsourcing. So real quick on time management, what can you do to improve your time management?
Block time.
Yeah,
Schedule.
Block it out.
Good. Block it out, absolutely. Prioritize, make a to-do list. Did you write those 3 things down that they said?
We're not doing that now.
Sometimes it's just in identifying the problem. And what you don't know is Facebook has more answers than you realize. Ask someone, if you're saying, okay, where can I find buyers? Type on Facebook, does anybody know anyone that wants to buy some real estate? Facebook has more answers than you realize. If you're trying to come up with a company name, ask Facebook. You'll have 1,000 comments. Why? Everybody loves to give advice. Now, nobody really likes to use their own advice, but people love to give advice. Would you agree? What else are we struggling? What's on your list? Market saturation?
Yeah. I mean, my favorite was we sent out 1,000 postcards. We got one email and reply says, I get 15 of these a week. Take me off your list. We're like,
Right.
we've only touched her one time.
Right. So the postcards don't work.
Well, I mean, that particular mailing, I just felt like, the same people get on the same list over and over again.
Do we ever think that maybe the same people are using the same verbiage? What is what stands out about your mailing?
I actually created it from scratch. It was totally different than anything I'd seen before. So that wasn't the issue.
Share with me. Do you have a picture of it?
Yeah, I can pull it up for you.
Let's see it. Let's see it. I want to see what wows us. Because I said, what's different? She said, well, I came up with it my own from scratch. That's what's different. Well, I'm pretty sure.
You were saying that people use the same verbiage, and I was responding
Absolutely.
to that comment.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
And
was saying it doesn't have the same verbiage.
yeah, absolutely. And not to beat you up, but sometimes it's not the same words, but it's the same type of person reaching out to me. On the calls, it's the same type of person. Different person using different words, but I get the same feel. So maybe sometimes, anybody have a problem with cold calls? So I used to work at the Cheesecake Factory as a server, and there was this guy named Mac. He was an amazing server. I felt like I was better. The only problem is at the end of the night, he always sold more than me, and he always made more than me. We work in the same restaurant, same customers. I was thinking at one point, okay, he's in a better section than I am. He gets better tables. So I complained and complained and complained to the manager, said, why does Mac get the good section? I want the good section. So he said, okay, fine. Because the manager trusted Mac's ability, we switched sections one night. Guess what happened? He sold more and made more money than me. And I'm saying, okay, well, it must have been a bad night. They let me have that section for a month, every single day, consistently. And I found other people complaining to the manager, like, why does Mac have the good section, which was my old section? And other servers wanted my old section. But it had nothing to do with the section. It had everything to do with who? So I had to start to study communication. I had to study psychology. Did you know when people receive mail or get phone calls, there's a psychological game that's being played right now? I have a really cool website. I wish you could pull up my website. It's really cool. But I sat down with a seasoned internet marketer he's been doing internet marketing for 18 years. And he looked at my website, he said, it looks cute, but look at this. Look at this. The fonts are different sizes. He said the fonts have to be the same size throughout. He said there has to be a call to action at the top and the same exact call to action at the bottom. He said we want to ask the person, hey, I want you to book David for a coaching session. But by the time they get to the end of the website, they've forgotten. So we need to ask them again. He pointed out, I promise you, he spent 20 minutes tearing up my website, even though that was an upgrade from my last website, but I just didn't know. So I had to find an expert. So before we even look at your flyer, have you taken it to an expert to say, listen, a marketing expert, because as soon as someone sees something, the game starts. It's either going to turn them on or turn them off. And if we don't know what it is, makes sense? So I have a t-shirt line, and I only used to put out t-shirts that I liked. I would look at it and say, this is amazing. This t-shirt is amazing. This is going to sell out, and people just didn't like it. So I got smart, and I started asking my friends before I started putting anything out, like, I love this t-shirt. What do you think? And I'm trying to probe them to say they like it. They'll say, it's all right. I'm like, well, would you wear it, though? And they'll be like, yeah, I wear it. Cool, I'm putting it out. But then I stopped asking that question. I started just getting a raw answer from them. And I said, well, what about this t-shirt design? What do you think about this one? And they say, well, it's cool. I like it. I'm saying, well, would you spend money on it? And they say, yeah. I put it out. It still didn't sell. But then I realized I kept asking my friends and family what they think. And they have like an affection for me, the person. So what I started to do is I take the design on my phone and I go to the mall and ask total strangers, hey, what do you think about this t-shirt design? And I started getting people saying, oh, it's nice. Good luck with your brand. And I didn't like the whole good luck with your brand thing because I think you're trying to encourage me. So I got hip after that and I said, you know what? I'm going to go to the mall and ask total strangers what they think about the design, but I'm going to act like I'm not sure if I like it. So I started going to the mall and say, hey, what do you think about this design? This designer sent me this design. I don't know. I don't know if I should go with it. And some people are like, no, it's terrible. Then I got a whole bunch of people saying that. I said, okay, this isn't a good one. And I kept going, I changed the design, and I go ask people, hey, I don't think I like this design, but I'm starting this clothing brand. What do you think? Do you think this is a good one? I don't really like it. And there was some people who said, no, that's amazing. I love that. Listen, if you don't like it, make it for me. I said, oh, I got one. And I started selling. I started asking my audience what they wanted. What else is on your list? What else is on your list?
Information overload.
Information overload.
Yes.
Explain that. Explain that.
In this business, man, you got somebody over here doing it this way, somebody doing it that way, she's doing it that way. So you like, it all sounds good when it hits you,
Yeah.
but then you're like, damn, which one do I do?
Right, right.
And which one should I try to implement?
Gotcha. Do me a favor and take this note. Try a strategy and go with it. Master a particular strategy. I haven't read a whole book in about 3 years. I'll read about the first 3 or 4 chapters, and I'm going to try to implement those first 3 or 4 chapters. And sometimes I'll read the first 3 or 4 chapters over and over and over and over and over again because I want to get those 3 or 4 because I get information what? Overload. I read the whole book, and I forget what I read in the first 2 or 3 chapters anyway. And then I move on to another book, and I read that whole book, and I forget all about the first book. Information overload. It happens to us all. But I'm asking you to work with a strategy. If a strategy worked for somebody, that means it worked for them. But it probably didn't work for them in a short amount of time that you try it. So you see somebody, it works, right? And you try it for 3 weeks, and it doesn't work for you. But that person's been perfecting that strategy for 3 years. But we quit after 3 weeks because it doesn't what? We haven't mastered it. It's the little things. You're saying it wrong. You're pitching it wrong. What else are we working on? Consistency. What's the problem?
Everybody stop talking to the person.
Yeah, on it, doing good. Start to get busy, and I'm off
Get
the
off
road.
track.
Why does that happen?
And my reasoning is, gotta get it while it's hot. Get all you can while you get. I'll get back to it.
Get all you can while where you learn that? I was about to say, that's some old advice. They came up with that in the 30s. All right.
So the market's hot right now. Go, just pull off of it. Go ahead and get it.
Gotcha.
Come back to it.
So write down a couple of things you need to be consistent with.
Okay.
What do you think?
What time blocking, getting my letters out. Just
Time blocking, getting your labor. So that's what you need to be consistent with, right?
because it works. When I do it, it works.
Right. And when do you stop doing it?
When I get real busy, when the phone, I got 2 or 3 calls.
Right.
I got your letters. I'm like,
Yeah.
off.
How long does it take to time block and get your letters out?
If I'm consistent, I can do it in 3 hours.
Good.
If I'm not consistent, and I'm
Per week or per day or what?
per day when I do it per day.
3 hours. And you do this full time?
No. This is in between.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Write this down. Find an accountability partner and bet some money.
Oh boy. That might be.
So one of my clients, he wound up losing 50 pounds in about 3.5 months. 50 pounds in 3.5 months. But he was stuck. He was having a problem, and he was frustrated, and he just couldn't get over the hump. So I bet him 500 that he wouldn't lose it. He said, I'm going to lose this weight in 3.5 months. I said, are you sure? He said, I'm sure. I said, are you positive? He said, I'm positive. I just came back from this motivational speech. I'm excited. I'm ready. I said, great. Do me a favor. Post it on your Facebook. Tell everybody else you're going to lose that weight. He said, cool. I'm going to post it. And he posted it. I said, great. Are you sure? He said, sure. 100%? 100%. I said, great. Let's bet. I got $500 that says you don't lose this weight. I take 500, we give it to my friend. You take 500, you give it to my friend. She's holding $1,000. Winner takes all. Every single day, he was thinking about that 500. So he didn't want to, yeah, absolutely. He didn't want to lose the money, and he wanted to take my money, right? So he had more motivation to do it. The question for you all, the goal that you're trying to accomplish, what happens if you don't reach it? Nothing, right? You just set another goal. You need some consequences. You need consequences. There are no consequences. People say, this is my year. It's going to be my year. I'm going to do this by February. You quit because ain't no consequences. So find somebody to bet with. And that's for everybody here. Reach your goal. Sometimes you need to partner with somebody and say, okay, how many flips are we going to do this month? I'm going to do 2. You say you're going to do 2, let's bet. If I do my 2 and you don't do your 2, you owe me money. If I don't do my 2 and you do your 2, I owe you money. If neither one of us do it, we get the money to a charity. Bet. How sure are you? He lost the money. I mean, he lost the weight, and I lost my money. I didn't want to lose the money. But here's the cool part. Here's the cool part. I have a coaching program, and the coaching program is $125 a month. And based on that story, I go around the country and I tell the story. I've probably gotten an additional 20 clients from the story. I lost $500 to gain a story to give to other clients to show you my coaching works.
Did they get your money too?
Say it again?
Did they get your money too?
If they bet me, absolutely. So I had another guy, he got inspired. He bet me $300, lost his money. But his goal was to lose 30 pounds, and he lost 15. So who really lost? The motivation, he lost 15 pounds when he probably wouldn't have lost that. So he paid $300 to lose 15 pounds. I think it's a win-win.